Hello, everybody. Hello. How are we today? Thank you all very much for joining us. Pardon me while I tweak something on my screen just a little bit. There we go. Hello, everybody. It's been a little bit since our last session. Schedules being what they are. Time is always the worst supervillain. Looking at you, Stasis. And we're happy to be back. We don't quite have a full roster tonight. Unfortunately, Sport won't be able to join us this session, so we are continuing with Cavalry, Mads, and Stasis, and I'm sitting here throwing these names around like you know who these people are. I mean, if you watched the first episode, you probably do. But let's do a quick round of introductions for everybody before we do a recap. We will start with the players, and we will go alphabetically, which I believe we discussed that order before we went live, so take it away.
Hi, I'm AJ, AJ the Sparky, pronouns she, they. I am playing Cavalry, a ghostly horse soldier, and her pronouns are she, her.
Everybody, I'm Jade, she, they, and I am playing Mads, and who is an AI possessed hacker.
Hi, y'all. I'm Keegan, and I'm playing Stasis, a time-displaced entity of sorts. Yeah.
Time-displaced entity of sorts. It's non-specific. I like it.
So non-specific.
So non-specific. We'll be getting more into that as things progress. But, hi everybody, I'm Ben Ravensdale. I'm the narrator, storyteller, GM, whatever term you prefer for the gig. And I'm going to be facilitating this evening. Welcome back to Vigilantes Union Philly 5. You may have seen our Vigilantes Union Local 13 series over on YouTube, so you may be somewhat familiar with the game we're playing tonight, but it is called Marvel Saga. It's a really great card-based superhero RPG that was printed and then kind of went off the shelves back in like 1997 to 2001-ish, that time frame. So it's still out there if you can find it. It's a pretty cool system. Check it out if you're interested. But as for where we are in our story, in the last session, our heroes were confronting a couple of supervillains in a small kind of mom-and-pop butcher/deli/grocery store in New Jersey, which is like right over across the border from Philadelphia, which is where our heroes are ostensibly based. There was a showdown. We met Mads, who was in the crowd, kind of watching everything up until the point where the AI that is riding along in Mads' brain took over and caused a little bit of a scene. We ended off with the heroes basically managing to not necessarily subdue the AI, but, get Mads back into control of her own body, and they basically decided they were going to go talk about the situation because, rogue AIs running around is probably a bad thing. That's kind of where we left off, was with the group kind of preparing to reconvene to another location and have a conversation about things. We are going to basically pick up right where that left off so that our players can interact with each other a little bit, and everybody can see some of our characters in action but not in combat, if that makes sense. So yeah, the current state of things, Mads, you have kind of a safe house, I guess, is how I would put it.
Yeah, we have sort of like family friend owns owned a computer, I guess still owns a computer repair shop that I've just been kind of turned into a cash business as a front, and sort of the back is kind of where I'm hiding out from various entities that want to find me right now. And I have offered that up to the rest of the crew.
All right.
Sure.
Do you want to describe this building, or shall I, Mads?
Why don't you?
Okay. So basically, Mads brings our other heroes, Cavalry and Stasis, brings you to a small computer repair shop in Camden. The shop is a detached building. Looks like it might have at one point been a home or a residence. The area around it has clearly been kind of rezoned for sort of commercial / industrial, and this little fairly squat, somewhat rundown looking building is, sort of a holdover from a bygone era. The place looks a little bit run down, but not necessarily like it's falling apart or that it's not inhabited or anything like that. It just kind of has that feeling of like, harsh weather has kind of run it down. Plus, it's less of a residence and more of a business now, so it doesn't have quite that same like kept up homely kind of, or not homely, homey type of feel. There is a sign outside, a neon sign that says Circuits Computer Repair, but the C in computer and the P in repair are both out. So from afar, it looks like Circuits Computer Re-Air. Currently has a closed sign up in the window. Hello, a confused amp wave. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. That is the building that Mads leads you to. So presume you all go inside, and you go to the back room, correct, Mads? That's where...
Yeah, we'll walk past the front counter, so like a half door kind of thing there, or something. Kind of just push past that and go through into a back room. It's probably there's probably boxes of there's old computers everywhere. There's boxes. There's a couple old leather couch, a 10-year-old TV, a table, some chairs, and a refrigerator. Just kind of like what you might expect in the back of a small business. Kind of half office, half kitchen, half meeting conference room.
All right.
We can explore additional rooms as needed.
Yeah, it's a whole former house. There's more to find if it becomes necessary. But yeah, I mean the floor is actually, before we get into the RP, I just realized one of the important things about this game is that it's card-based, which means everybody needs a hand of cards. So we're going to start, again, alphabetically. Everybody go ahead and draw your hand of cards. So Cavalry, you'll draw first. You have a hand size of 4. And there is a space set up for you to put all your cards in. Ooh, a 9 of agility. That's a great way to start things off. The old Spider-Man card.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's not a bad hand.
I'll take that.
Mads, you're up next with 3 cards. I mean, Captain America, 8 of willpower, also not a bad way to start things off. 2 of strength, Ooh, an 8 of doom. That makes me happy. I'll be seeing you later, Nihilus. And then last but not least, we have Stasis with another 3 cards. Oh, another doom card. Excellent.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, 7 of agility, not bad to have in there, on hand, in hand. I guess
that's not really great for the one who can't touch things though.
Well, so he can touch things, he just can't necessarily physically affect them and move them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's fine.
Oh wait, no, it's the strength that's negated, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. You're fine then.
Agility is more important.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. All right. So everybody's got your cards, and we're going to go ahead and open the floor up to the 3 of you. I'm sure some of you have questions for our AI infected AI.
Possessed?
Possessed. There you go.
Possessed,
AI,
yeah.
AI possessed friend. Yes.
Yeah, that's the word. I'm trying to remember what happened last week now, or last game.
So last game you were chasing down a villain by the name of Vitriol in that kind of like marshy
Yeah.
land behind the deli, and Vitriol basically like used the bystanding crowd to distract you so that she could make her escape.
Yeah.
And then
And I deemed her a lost cause for now.
she did manage to escape underwater. Yes.
Yes. I was like, there was no way for us to actually keep up with her by any means. So.
So yeah, and then as part of that, Vitriol had basically sprayed a cloud of or a big puddle of acid at the crowd. Mads managed to actually sort of protect against that with I think it was an acid resistant umbrella that you had in your bag, right, Mads?
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, because I could pull up random stuff as needed.
Conveniently plot based stolen government Alberta or government umbrella.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They that's right. We determined that they were standard issue at the lab, just in case any of the fire extinguishers went off and reacted weirdly with other chemicals.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So. All right. So yeah, that's kind of how Mads was introduced, and then Mads, again possessed by the AI, went a little bit hostile. I think, if I remember correctly, like laid out a cop in front of you.
Yeah. I think they just like
Body
picked
slammed.
the cop up and body slammed him in one hand.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, some stuff happened, but here we are.
Yeah, I guess cavalry will probably, once we get into after like weirdly staring at like all the random technology because it's all going over her head right now. Yeah, I guess she takes up a kitchen chair and sits at it, and is like, so Mads, it was. What's your whole deal with this then?
You know what? Let's just go for it. I worked in a government research lab on brain implants, and my brain implant got infected by some kind of malicious software, and I am on the run. And I just wanted a sandwich. That's all I wanted. I wanted a sandwich, and my malware took over and did what you saw. And it's not my fault, and I don't know what's going on. And I'm just trying to survive right now.
I believe it's not your fault. That's the easy part there. Everything until that part is what didn't make sense.
You're right. It doesn't. I don't get it yet.
All right. Well, I guess problem A is we don't need any scary robot voices, AI on the streets of West Coast USA at all, or anywhere really. That's anywhere.
I'd like it to not be in my head, frankly.
Yeah, it's
anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you Stasis. What are you thinking here?
Who was the? Who were you fighting?
There was the. I only ever actually encountered the Speedy Acid lady. She never actually said her name in character, did she?
She did not. No.
No. Yeah. It's like the Speedy Acid lady. I was faster than her, kinda, but
It's important to get that. It's important to get that
I was faster
detail
than
there.
her.
I'm faster than she is.
Yeah, but she was playing dirty, so.
I was fighting a big old liquor guy.
Liquor with a Q or with a CK?
Like with a CK.
Okay, good to know.
Just a big tongue,
Yeah.
very strong.
Well,
And what's your deal? Stasis, is it?
Yeah, I'm just currently phasing in and out of
don't worry, it's just a
time.
phase.
It's just a phase. I'll grow out of it.
So are you guys like superheroes?
That's a really
I
weird term for it, but yes.
I would not.
Well, I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I'm not sure about them, but I've been around the block a time or two, or three.
I'm just trying to help people. Um, yeah.
And people with superpowers who help other people. I mean, superhero. There's a word for that.
Yeah.
Comes with baggage. Lots of baggage.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah, I guess Cavalry has a really weird definition of hero in her head because for her, both serving in as an RCMP officer and in the armed forces, her definition of hero at first goes to like what the kids consider heroes, like firefighters and whatnot. Then superpowers on top of it. It's like a really? How does this work?
More than one way to be a hero. So
Yeah.
All right. Feel free to continue chatting when I think that there is a lull in conversation. Then stuff will happen, but I don't want to take the opportunity for take away the opportunity for character development in the meantime.
Yeah.
So
So how long are you gonna be here? You know, I got stuff to do.
Well, I'd rather be on the other side of the river. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'd rather be probably anywhere else, but for now, the other side of the river. So being in Camden is a little counterintuitive here.
Well, hey, I got some water bottles. You know, maybe I can find a stack or something to send you on your way with.
I mean,
Are you going to be okay?
Oh, I am not okay.
The
No
outburst
part of
of,
what's going on right now is okay.
Are you
Yeah,
sure you don't?
Yeah, I'm more concerned about leaving you alone with a robot voice in your head than,
Valid.
yeah. Whether it's for your safety or the safety of the officer back there or so on and so forth is unbeknownst yet, but it seems best to keep you under wraps, and the least amount of people get hurt if we just hand you back to the authorities. But
Here,
also,
I'm good. I'm good with computers. Can I help you find Acid Lady and Tongue Man?
Ugman's been dealt with. Acid Lady. What's the TV camera footage?
CCTV?
Yes, that's the one.
Well, it'd probably be a felony for me to just, go get that, but I can.
Oh, we're ready yet. Not at this second. But
Okay.
yes, keeping you with us isn't the worst idea we've had.
So I guess.
However,
Oh, good.
as I say, it's like what, 2 a.m. right now? Was it midday or late evening?
It was evening because the place the place would have been near closing on a normal day, but they were randomly closed tonight.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, what do you guys want to do next? Like AJ and Stasis at the very least, or Cavalry and Stasis. What's your next move? Are you going to try to track down Vitriol? Are you?
Well, Vitriol, I think, is... Cavalry is concerned about Vitriol, obviously. But also knows that continuing after a full day of existing and an evening of hard work is also not a smart idea. And we have the means to find her as well. So, I guess Cavalry's first concern is getting rested and recuperated for the morning.
Okay. Actually, so we're gonna sort of narratively explain Sport's absence as he went to like follow the trail, like see if he could pick up the trail for Vitriol.
All right.
While you guys are doing your thing. But yeah, so I mean, Stasis, what about you? What's your idea for next steps? Are you concerned about Vitriol, or you kind of just go home and?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Vitriol. I suppose I would follow suit with Cavalry since I've been asking for help figuring all this out.
Okay.
Still pretty new.
Fair enough. So, Cavalry, your thought is what then?
Well, I'll propose to Mads either we can stay here and recuperate the night here, and Mads has time to be with their shit, or we can go to, or take Mads with us back across to wherever we're staying. And
Matt's going to offer up. Matt, sort of after we decided to stick together here, Matt's going to offer up, a bedroom or two. Maybe a twin bed and a cot, or is exactly it. Like we said, it used to be a home, and some of that is still floating around up on the second floor. And she's going to offer that up. If you want to crash here, so you two can crash here if you want. I got a spare room.
All right. Well, I guess your note for tomorrow morning is get whatever you need to be away from this place for a bit.
Where are we going? This is kind of home base for me right now.
Well, okay. Be prepared that if you need to leave away for a bit, have a bag ready.
Oh, she just like lifts up her gadget bag, which is basically a go bag with. You can survive for a week out of it at least easily.
All right, there we go.
Plus, it's got gizmos.
Convenient.
And it's got gizmos and magic powers of some sort.
It's not so much magic powers unless you consider like.
It's mechanically magic. But
yeah, exactly.
She just keeps random shit in there that happens to be useful.
It's that foresight of well, I guess it's that like.
It's the junk drawer. She keeps her junk drawer in her backpack.
It seems like being like super prepared for a situation. In reality, it's just there's so much random crap in there but something is bound to be helpful.
Like that 2x4 you have in the garage for 30 years and you finally need it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or that shark repellent spray that you've got on your belt that you will only ever need in one very specific situation. And I mean, yeah.
But damn it, you're going to want it when you need it.
Exactly. All right, so if y'all are going to be hanging out there, we had spoken. I think we had established this previously that Cavalry, you have a contact in the local police department. Her name is Lieutenant Campbell.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. She was the one who actually kind of tipped you off to the fact that there was like something weird going on out here.
Yeah.
Midway, like fairly late at night, probably around like 11:30 midnight. You get another text from her just saying what happened. Witnesses say that you walked off with someone who put a cop in the hospital.
Okay, well, that's a text to get. I respond, dealing with, or let's see, put it. Ooh. Person we walked away with, possessed superhuman, possessed by a superhuman source, I guess would be the term. Metahuman, whatever the term in this world would be.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll be pretty loose with it. Whatever.
Yeah, so possessed by like an non-human source, um, felt best that you know superhuman people dealt with it as opposed to just locking them in a cell until nothing happens.
Three dots come up and then go away, and then three dots come up and then go away, and then three dots come up, and finally get a text back. It says, I'll assume you're an expert on non-human possessions, so I'll leave that in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately following that, say, what happened with the other one that got away?
The Speedy Lady is, she quite literally went where I couldn't follow her. We have ideas on to pick up her. We have one of ours is out trying to pick up the trail, and we have two other sources to get her. So she's a tomorrow morning issue.
Okay. She texts back and says, "What sources?"
Out of character, does she know Sport and Stasis?
Yeah. I mean, yes, because we established in the first episode that you guys have been working together for
Okay.
at least a few months.
Okay, yeah. So I'll say, Sport's trying to pick up oddities on the trail right now. Stasis has enhanced senses that if we could pick up anything, we could pick it up.
Okay.
And I awkwardly leave out the CCTV thing I mentioned earlier.
Fair enough. She does respond like kind of one more time, and says, "Source number 3. You could talk to the guy that you apprehended."
Oh yeah.
Local PD says Cat's got his tongue, but he's got a lot of tongue, so.
Yeah, I'll text back. Good point. Thanks for the tip.
She won't reply after that.
No.
So yeah. You rest up. Get a few Z's. Mads, what are you doing over the course of the night? Are you just going to get some sleep? Is there anything you want to do?
I feel like it'd be she might go sit at her computer. Maybe that's what's behind me here and just kind of monitor, because she's still a little bit paranoid. She wants to monitor her camera systems all around this place. Go just kind of do some open source intelligence gathering. It's probably unnecessary, but she's sort of looking for any sign that entities out looking for her are still on a cold path. And probably kind of falls asleep in her computer chair doing that, because she really is, that takes a lot out of her when the AI takes over, and she really just needed to go to sleep, but she's a little too wired to do that yet.
Okay. You want to give me give me an intellect action using computers as a skill. If you want to kind of run diagnostics and feel confident that everything's okay. And so for our viewers who may not be familiar with the system, it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you've got a number of different stats that are all going to have a number assigned to it. In this case, it's intellect. Mads' intellect is an 11. Mads can play any of the cards, or the players can play any of the cards in their hands, and then add the number of that card to the number for their stat. So if Mads were to play the 8 of willpower here, the purple 8 with Captain America on it, that would be 8 plus 11 would be a 19. You can play any card, but if you can play a card that matches the suit of the stat that you're using, then you get an extra bonus on top of that. It's sort of like a critical hit or a critical result in other games. Green cards are strength. Blue cards are intellect, red cards are agility, purple cards are willpower, black cards are doom cards. Whenever a player plays one of those, it means I get a little present, but we'll leave that for when a player decides to actually play one. Mads, you should play that Eight of Doom.
I'm going to, because I think it would be interesting that in her tired state, maybe she triggers some kind of thing while she's doing the search. So even if I'm successful in finding out information, maybe I actually accidentally lead someone my way.
Okay.
Let's make an interesting story.
Yeah. Okay.
So that gets me up to 19.
19. Plus the computer skill is going to give you a boost of 4, putting you at a 23. So go ahead and draw your card back to replace that one. I'm going to draw my card for the Doom card being played. So I'm just going to hang on to that there, and that'll come into play later. I'm sure it'll be a convenient time for the heroes. Couldn't possibly be bad. All right, so a 23. You go through and you check over your computer system. You kind of look at the footage on your cameras, and everything seems fine. Everything seems legit. As a matter of fact, that was a good enough score that while you're kind of going through and checking all your stuff out, if Mads navigates her computer the way I navigate my computer, I'll have one main task, but then I'll have a random thought, and I'll open up another tab to kind of do that while one thing is loading, and I'll kind of go over and I'll poke at the other thing. And so, Mads, you actually managed to find a couple of news broadcasts about the incident. There was there was a little bit of footage, cell phone footage that people took and things like that. And there is one particular channel identifies the woman that escaped as a somewhat known super powered criminal who goes by the codename of Vitriol. So you have that name now officially in character. You also find a short clip of the guy that was brought in by the police, where one of basically a tabloid reporter says oh, what's your name, and the guy, in a very kind of slavering way, kind of semi feral, very aggressive, kind of snarls that his name is Stranglehold, and his tongue tries to grab the guy before they slam a steel door on the guy's on the tongue, and it kind of squirms and then whips back inside the room before they kind of seal it up. So their names officially in character at this point. And
So I guess I'll go to relay that, but maybe the two of them are already sleeping, and I'll wait till the morning, or depending on, is the rest of the night going to be a calm night? No issues.
No issues, unless Stasis gets up to something crazy. Stasis, what are you doing, or are you just going to sleep?
Stasis asleep.
Yeah. Not really. Just kind of exist. Stare at a wall, perhaps, or
Stasis waits.
it looks like a wall.
Stasis waits. That's
Just
that makes
T-poses in the corner, waiting for rest to be complete.
Exactly. All right. Are you trying to? So you're not trying to locate anybody or anything like that. You're just going to kind of leave it for morning.
I imagine if sports on it, they're banned. I guess I could attempt. That would be fine. Let's see.
Okay. So I mean, if you want to try and use your ESP, Well, first off, who or what are you trying to locate? Is the first question.
Mm.
Are you trying to find Vitriol, or are you trying to find, you trying to see what Stranglehold is up to in his cell?
I guess I might be able to see if Stranglehold's up to anything in this cell.
Okay. So your ESP does have a limit that you can't observe locations you can't physically access, because your ESP isn't so much like just remote sensing. It's another version of you is like kind of zipping to like a location and trying to see into it. So if you can't physically like theoretically get a door open, then you wouldn't be able to see it. But that doesn't mean you can't see anything necessarily. You'd have to give me an action for that, and if you fail, then you couldn't get in there. If you succeed, you could. But that'll be so for ESP. That is going to be a willpower action. So a purple card if you have one, a card of any other color if you don't. Like that 3.
No, you want it.
I do. Give me the Doom cards.
Nah, I'll spend the Ghost Rider on that one.
Damn it. Fine. Alright, so that'll be a 5 plus your ESP of 10 is a 15. You do have the observation skill, so that will apply. So that's basically a 19. Alright, go ahead and draw a card back to replace that. This one's going to get discarded. You are... you traded 1 5 of strength for another 5 of strength.
Of course.
Alright. Alright, yeah, so you are able to kind of get a look at what's going on with Stranglehold. So the... basically kind of the scene that unfolds is... you kind of have that weird like first person perspective, like you're watching a found footage like movie or something like that, of kind of going up the steps to the this building that is adjacent to the local police precinct, but it's much smaller, and it's very clearly built like a bomb shelter. Like this thing is built sturdy to hold people who could theoretically break out of a normal building. Normally you would probably not be able to get in there, but there are enough people kind of coming and going because Camden doesn't have a ton of supervillains, so this is kind of like one of those... everybody's finding a reason to be there, so that they can sort of like see the process and see the villain and things like that. And so as a result, the place isn't as secure as it might normally be. In addition to that, there are reporters and things like that. There's clearly like a couple of public defenders that are there to meet with Stranglehold, and they're getting sort of walked through the process and things like that. So as a result, you're able to kind of get a peek inside, and he is for lack of a better term, spilling the beans. Clearly, like, ratting vitriol out to the cops. Like, oh, we were working together. We were gonna hit a joint, not too far away. Is like basically names off like a small like local bank branch, and everything like that. And he's just kind of like explaining why they met up, and why did people think that he had kidnapped her, and yada yada yada. And he kind of just explains it was just a misunderstanding. He just they were supposed to meet. He showed up and grabbed her and took her where they were supposed to meet. And that's just kind of what caught everybody's attention. Now, do me a favor, give me a give me another willpower action. This time, this is like base willpower, and your observation skill will still come into play. You might as
I can feel you wanting it.
well, of course, it's a Doom card. I want all the Doom cards. I'm starting a
It's
collection
just
over
a
here.
3.
It's not about the number; it's about the suit, man. All right, so that's gonna be this because your willpower is a 10, same as your ESP, so a 23 again. All right, so that'll go down there. Go ahead and draw your card back. One thing that seems to kind of like slide right past the the interviewers and and everything like that is that at one point when he's kind of recounting things, like they ask him the same questions like multiple times. At one point when he's recounting, he says that he and Vitriol were doing their homework, which like the police officers that are kind of doing the interview and everything like that, they very clearly kind of like chalk that up to like, oh, they were casing the joint, they were doing their preparations for it. But something about the way he says it, you're like, that's not what this guy meant. Like he says homework like in the way that somebody assigned this to him, and he was going through with this task because he was told to do that and he was going to be graded on it. Like, not sure why. It tweaks his, like, the same thing as someone saying like, oh, I've got to do my math homework kind of vibe. And that's basically kind of what you get.
Strange. So there's another player anonymous.
So yeah. Otherwise, everybody has a good night's sleep, and you wake up the next morning. Well, two of you wake up the next morning. One of you is still awake the next morning, and you are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to figure things out from here.
All right. Any word from NPC Sport?
Nope.
No. Okay. Anyone find any fun news?
Little bit. There seems to be another person pulling the strings.
All right, that's good to know.
Don't know who or what, but it's always fun.
Anything from you, Mads?
She's walking in with a couple of styrofoam containers of like breakfast food, kind of a feast, and laying that on the table and mentioning that she caught the name of Vitriol on the news last night.
Yeah. Okay. Canonically known Vitriol and Strangletongue.
Stranglehold.
Stranglehold, yeah.
Strangletongue.
Lickitongue.
Yeah, exactly.
I really like the liquor. I mean, it seems fun.
The liquor.
Man, people can blame all kinds of wrongdoings on the liquor.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I chowed down on breakfast.
Politely decline.
Stasis not a breakfast person.
I don't think Stasis is a food person.
I was.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. About a
Once
year
upon a
ago
time,
or so.
those cheap Walmart or cheap McDonald's burritos looked great. Once upon a time.
Yeah, it's been a number of years since that kind of thing was a good idea. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, you have your breakfast and everything like that. What's the plan? Where are you heading off to? What's your first stop?
So, 3 leads we got. Well, 2 really, because haven't heard from Sport yet. Want to try and find Vitriol. We can use Stasis's super location, or we can actually see if go talk to stranglehold ourselves. See if we can get anything out of him. Option 3 is do some morally questionable actions and look at cameras.
I have some big cards.
You do. It's worth noting that because you guys are not an officially sanctioned super team, getting access to Stranglehold might be complicated.
Yes.
Not impossible,
Well,
just complicated.
I'm not sure he's going to have much else to say as far as where Vitriol is located.
Yeah. Well,
They
it's like if you know...
just
or
met
if-
yesterday.
Yeah. But if you...
So
the
it's-
question is, do you think that their boss contacted them both separately to meet up? Or did the boss contact Stranglehold and Stranglehold themselves picked up Vitriol?
So just to clarify, it seems like they have known each other for longer. It seems as if they were like if you ever got saddled with a group assignment where your teacher was like, you two are going to work together on that, like you're lab partners now. Is effectively kind of the vibe you got from his what he said.
Yeah, they know of each other, but this is their time working together.
Yeah. Also, another thing that's worth noting is that Stranglehold does not seem to be the brightest crayon in the box.
I figured that already.
Okay, just figured I should mention that, but you know,
He ain't the sharpest crayon in the shed.
exactly.
Why don't bruisers ever have a good mind? I don't understand.
Some of them do. You've got the Thing. Colossus is pretty smart.
Yeah.
You know, there's some that are.
That's about it. That's the list. But
I mean, Rogue is also pretty smart. I mean, she's not like a genius, but she's smart enough.
I also want to call her a bruiser, though.
Well, I guess it depends. Yeah.
She's a combatant, but she's not, big, bulky,
True.
Hulk built kind of.
True.
I mean, you could say Hulk is smart, I guess, depending on which comic you're reading.
Half the time.
And yeah,
The Maestro's pretty smart.
That is true.
All right. Take it back.
Okay, so yeah, we can go look for yeah, we need to start pushing leads on Vitriol is my next push.
I mean, you guys could also decide to just kind of hang out and wait for something to happen, and it's a superhero game. It's not like things are going to be boring forever. But if you want to be proactive, that's a different matter.
Yeah, we could
You just want to sit on the couch and something drops through the ceiling.
Don't threaten me for a good time with a good time.
Yeah, we're just gonna sit here and I don't know, we'll load up Smash Bros or something on the TV and just
There you go.
sit and hang out.
Just wait for the bat signal to go up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get that. No, I think we don't have to actively be, Danger could find us, but meanwhile we can go look for or follow leads.
Okay.
That's my suggestion. That's Calvary's input.
So, use ESP to find Vitriol, go talk to Stranglehold, which is probably a multi-step process, or look up camera information.
Yeah. How easy would it be for you, Mads, to do that?
Pretty easy.
Pretty easy?
She kind of looks away, this is clearly a crime, and I'm talking to two
How much
people
are
whose
you
job it
willing
is to fight crime, essentially.
Well,
Though I think she probably understands the I think she understands the context
Nobody's
that
paying me for this.
they have limited access. They don't have the
Are you guys gonna
normal
pay?
accesses.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not unionized. We don't get the same benefits.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's true. It is technically a crime, but I'm sure it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
What's the worst that could happen?
Especially when I have suits on my tail already. This will go well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Just use that. What's right? Yeah, just use your 8 of willpower.
What's the
I think
worst?
that's
that
what
could
I'm gonna
happen?
do.
I guess that's probably an intellect check. We none of us have intellect cards. This is annoying.
So what would this be, a computer link? Because that's the power I have.
So computer link is actually going to be helpful when you're accessing computers that you wouldn't normally be able to get into.
Okay.
In this particular case, you're just using a computer that you have normal access to, so it would be a base intellect, which is actually better for you in this case. So, yeah, that would be intellect using the computer's skill with an 8 is a 23, which I think is what you had last time as well.
Yes.
All right, so go ahead and draw your card. It takes you a little bit of time, but you are ultimately able to get into the computer system that kind of manages like all the CCTV stuff in this part of the city. You're still running a couple a couple algorithms to kind of crack into the Philadelphia side of things, just because it's possible that Vitriol swam across the river into Philadelphia when she fled. But in the meantime, you're kind of you're looking through footage and stuff like that in that kind of general area. And the first thing that kind of jumps to mind is that there is footage of Stranglehold basically jumping out of essentially the bushes and scooping a woman up and then basically turning and jumping super jumping away, and that's kind of right before the reports started coming in of someone having kidnapped this woman, and so you're basically able to get a really good look at what Vitriol looks like sort of without the mask on and everything like that. You kind of see her sort of civilian identity, and you follow her for a little bit, as best you can, and for about the hour prior to that, it's clear that she's basically she's circling this block. She's kind of keeping an eye on this one particular building that seems pretty nondescript. It looks like there's a Five Guys burger on the first floor in one corner, and then the next corner back there's a slightly nicer restaurant, probably it's a sushi place. There's a club venue on one of the higher floors with a rooftop terrace. It looks like a pretty generic building, but it's very clear that she's interested in this building, because every once in a while she even kind of takes out her phone and kind of uses a stylus to take some notes. She doesn't stop in the same place every time. She's at one point she's across the street and looks like she's just kind of on her phone, but she's pretty much every time she stops she's facing this building just from different angles and things like that. So
is this downtown somewhere?
So it is. One moment, please, while I pull up, because I'm not as familiar with this part of the world as I could be. So I want to make sure I've got the right information.
What's funny, I'm on the wrong side of the continent for all of this. This is all alien language to me. What do you mean it's not farm fields and cows? What?
Where was it? It was Brooklawn, right there in... Yeah, Virtuo's Produce and Deli, that's right. So... Now keep in mind, this is not an exact replica of the actual, Brooklawn neighborhood or anything. This is my interpretation of it for narrative purposes. So keep that in mind. But, yeah, it's sort of like a semi-residential area with, there are a couple of blocks here and there that have businesses, restaurants, things like that, just for, the locals to partake of. So it's not a downtown area. There's not sky rises or anything like that.
Okay.
It's sort of like cross between like a suburb and, you know, kind of a like a commercial district, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a pretty nondescript building.
And how old's the footage?
So it is from last night, like earlier in the day, in like the hour before Stranglehold showed up and like grabbed her.
Okay.
While Mads
Well.
is pulling all this footage up and kind of like reviewing it, what are the other two of you doing?
Do we want to? Do you want an ESP again?
Sure.
See if anything fun's going on at this place.
That place that Mads is looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Here you go, man.
Yes! Draw my card for that. Ooh! That's a good card. Oh! Yes! Replaced with another Doom card. I love it.
That makes one of us.
Alright, so that's going to go down there. So that's a 3 plus 10 is 13, and then you've got Observation, which is going to be a 17. Alright, yeah, so you're kind of like focused on this place, and for the most part, it seems like everybody wandering to and fro is pretty, okay, yeah. It seems as if everything is pretty standard. And then right after kind of like, well, depending on what time this is, we'll say like right after the breakfast rush, like people going to work, going like grabbing their coffees, things like that. The street kind of like quiets down. There's car traffic going by, but there's not a lot of foot traffic. And as you're kind of like monitoring this building, you notice that there's a sudden like surge in people. Like, car pulls up to the intersection, and like 5 or 6 people like get out of the car, and they go towards the building. And then, you know, a minute later, car pulls up. 5 or 6 guys get out of the car. The car keeps on, and these 5 or 6. It's like an Uber type of drop off point almost, but these guys all look like they're very buttoned up. They're very they've got like really close cropped like buzz cut haircuts, and they all have like various kind of like tattoos visible and stuff like that. Like if their forearms are exposed, they've got like very military unit tattoos and things like that. Like these guys do not look like just random people that are happen to be getting off from an Uber ride here. It happens enough times, and it's kind of so noteworthy that it's very clearly a pattern. And they all go up to like an unmarked door on one side of the building, and they walk up to it, the door opens without them interacting with it, they walk through, the door closes. This happens probably 4 times in the span of time that Mads is doing her computer monitor or her camera monitoring.
And I would probably relay that to Cavalry in such terms. I imagine maybe Cavalry will recognize tattoos of some description.
Sure, yeah, Cavalry. If you want to give me an intellect action and history or trivia of like military stuff.
Yeah,
would work.
I have history and military there. So.
Okay, so yeah, basically, you have the appropriate skill for the action.
I get the +4.
Yes, exactly.
Let's see. Plus. You said intellect?
Correct. Actually,
That's
you know
an
what?
8.
Hold on a second. Let me check something. I would say intellect makes the most sense, but I'll tell you what. You can either do intellect with the +4 from the skill, or you can do willpower because you've got willpower cards. You don't get the +4 from the skill, but you'll get the willpower bonus. So it's up to you if you think that's worth it.
And if I play a willpower card with a willpower check, I just draw another card off the deck.
Yep, and if it's another willpower
And
card, you would draw again.
Exploding.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
So we'll go with the 5 willpower
Gonna gamble it.
and the 5 agility. So that's 10 plus 9 is 19.
19, okay. Whereas you would have gotten 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 5 is 13. Yeah, so, I mean,
It was a worthy gamble.
yeah, even if you'd played the 9, the highest you could have gotten there would have been a 17. So you still made a few points on it.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. And I can draw that 4th card back.
Yep, go ahead and draw that back. So the tattoos are a smattering of different groups. You're not necessarily familiar with all of them, but the ones that Stasis is able to really clearly describe sound like they sound like scout sniper, like Marine scout snipers, and not necessarily like special forces, but basically people who are trained more than your average cut of
Yeah, okay.
They're a cut above the average military member. People who've most definitely seen some combat and things like that.
Alright.
The other thing that you notice, or that he picks up on, Stasis picks up on very quickly, is one repeating tattoo that is a paramilitary organization. It's a civilian, basically security company, known as Blockade Securities Limited.
Oh, they were mentioned last time. I feel like you said that before. Now I'm trying to remember where.
You know what? Your result was good enough. I'll give you a little bit of a reminder, a refresher. So Blockade Securities is a civilian contractor. They specialize in anti-superhuman kind of tactics and response. So think of them kind of as like a private military contractor here in the real world, like, if you'll excuse me using this particular example, but like Blackwater was back in the day. But they have some advanced technology, and they pretty much employ it to like bodyguard against supervillains.
Okay.
Some government contracts, like there are some cities who have specifically, rather than signing on a union, they have hired on Blockade to basically be like, their response force against superhuman incursions. And then you've also got some private citizens who will like hire them on to be like, hey, I'm going to this area that's known for being kind of dangerous, and just in case there's a super bad guy, I'd like you guys to be there.
I think you mentioned them in the pre-session.
Yes, probably.
Or session 0, I think you mentioned them because Philly doesn't have a union.
Correct. Yes.
That's why I remember that name.
So Blockade, it does have a presence here, but they're not super prevalent. That wouldn't be common knowledge. They're active here, but they don't have the kind of presence that would suggest they've been hired on by the city. Let's put it that way.
All right.
So yeah, that's what you get.
All right. So we got Blackwater. No, sorry, not Blackwater.
Blockade. Yeah.
Blockade. Yes, you said it, and Maroon was there.
And they're close enough words. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. We got Blockade security and a bunch of essentially ex-Navy SEALs and equivalent thereof, all going into one non-conspicuous building like multiple Agent Smiths.
Basically.
Yeah, and and it's the same building that we had a supervillain eyeing up for an entire day.
Correct.
Okay. Well, do you want to go poke and prod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be more of like a. I mean, with me at least, pretty obvious unless I keep distant.
I mean,
Look lightly.
yeah. Shall we?
I think I have a question about this actually. So, Stasis, can you just throw like a big coat over yourself, or does that get sort of like subsumed into this weird glitching?
That's what I like to imagine happens. However, like I don't.
You put it on and it just starts glitching with you and starts.
Well, like. So in my head, this meta, whatever. It's just that all the outfits have been kind of pulled together, and they kind of just, it gets pieced out and whatnot. But I am not currently in a physical being state. I don't know. Be interesting. Let's go for it.
Yeah, why not give it a try?
Yeah.
That just means I'll have to figure out how that's gonna put. So I feel like if you try to put on like a coat or something with a hood or whatever, I feel like you would have a limited amount of time before that sort of like settles in to this weird kind of like temporal glitching thing, and like so let's say you put on like a really big like trench coat type of thing with a hood. the hood might randomly, after you've worn it for like 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes, who knows, the hood might suddenly, instead of being like, black denim, turn into like gray sweat material because it's like part of another hoodie you wore ages ago or whatever, or like the sleeve might suddenly disappear and it's kind of replaced with like a short sleeve tank top or a t-shirt sleeve. So you've got a little bit of time where you could pull it off, but it never lasts for very long, I think is
now,
the
interesting.
way I would rule that.
Interesting theory. If stasis is like time based, right? It's flicking through outfits in time currently. So if someone in the current time period, i.e. one of us, held on to that coat the entire time he was wearing it.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, like, holding hands in kindergarten crossing the road.
Yeah,
if cavalry stood there the entire time holding on to like the side of this trench coat for the entire time, would it stay locked in cavalry's time period to stay a tangible trench coat the entire time?
No, it's...
Or would cavalry's hand get subsumed into what's going on?
Oh, no.
It just turns into someone else's hand. Or,
that'd be interesting, because cavalry is missing a hand.
No, actually, so if that were to happen, it would like, let's say he was wearing a leather jacket, the leather sleeve at some point, like when you like kind of like looked away for half a second, you'd suddenly realize that you're holding like the sleeve of a jean jacket or like a suit jacket or something like that instead.
Okay.
So
it was worth a thought.
It was a good thought.
All right. So we either have a time limit, or we can have a walking beacon. You can teleport. Why don't you should just get an invisibility ability? It'd be easier.
Yeah.
Now my question is, Mads, how do
on that, Calvary?
just spontaneously develop in invisibility, please? Now, Mads, how do you feel about this whole let's go approach this building plan?
I don't think Mads. She doesn't really feel like she has much of a choice because Calvary basically alluded to sending me to jail. Alluded, and she's paranoid. I realize you didn't say that exactly.
Yeah.
But she's just like, these are probably the two most safest people that she knows right now that she can stay with. So let's just go along for the ride.
Okay. So I am going to say,
The more friends she has, the less likely she's going to end up being black bagged.
so while you are kind of finalizing this and getting ready to leave, there is a police like a news alert basically that goes out that there is an armored car robbery in progress, and that there is it seems as if the armored car itself has been hijacked and is on the 76 highway leading from Pennsylvania into New Jersey, which is there is a point not too far from you where that would basically cross your path if you wanted to respond. Don't have to. I'm just saying it's happening. It's your guys' choice. Oh. Hi, Book of Micah. Thank you very much for joining us. The infamous Dr. Scott, that impossible possum, is in the chat.
Mads is definitely taking a backseat to decision making right now because again she feels like she's just kind of going along for the ride right now.
Well, would you guys like to go stop an armored car on the way?
Yeah, I feel like we've got time.
Hey!
You always have.
Hey!
I love it. I love it. There needs to be an inspiration style mechanic in this game.
Just give us another card.
That's a bit too. I'll tell you what. I will let you swap out a card in your hand. If you choose.
Oh yeah.
If you choose the Doom card, I won't hold it against you too much. But if you want, you can swap out a card in your hand for a new card.
I mean, agility is always useful to me.
That's true. Because you need to dodge attacks and you need to attack.
Yeah. So
go on, swap out the one.
Sorry.
That's
do you want me to
fine.
swap it? Do I just take it off, or do I put it in the discard?
Just put it in the discard.
Okay. It's gonna be a worse Doom card.
There is no worse Doom card than the 1 of Doom, but it is a 5 of Doom. Yes. Got it.
Minor upgrade.
Got it.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine. I made a silly pun joke, and this is what I deserved.
I appreciated it. So, all right. So then, how are you going to get there?
As you say, Stasis, we'll meet you there.
Yep. I'll be there.
All right. Got a helmet on you, Mads? Got a helmet in the building somewhere.
Yeah, let's say what's his name was keep forgetting his name. Has a motorcycle or something, so she grabs a motorcycle helmet.
Perfect. We go out to the motorcycle.
Frankie. Yeah. In his
Safety
younger
first.
Days, in his younger days, Frankie was he liked to ride his motorcycle. As a matter of fact, he's probably still got like an old motorcycle that's doesn't really run anymore, but could theoretically be fixed up. Probably still in what passes for the garage of the house at the back of the property. Glad I'm not the only person feeding Ben Doom cards. Yeah, I do like being fed Doom cards. So anybody who wants to give me Doom cards, feel free. All right, so let's do this. I'm so excited you decided to go do this instead of the it would have been fine either way, but I've been waiting to introduce this villain for a little while, so I'm glad I get the.
I want to get into some fun action. So,
I'm not not going to make you give me like a driving check yet.
I mean, you can. I'm really good at it.
You are really good at it, which is why I'm not going to make you give me an action for it yet. Because right now you're navigating surface streets to kind of try to get there. Basically, you're not too far from the... let's see.
Yeah, how far is not too far?
I mean, you can pretty easily get onto the 130, which then kind of like intersects with the 76. So you're in good shape. I'd say maybe I don't know, from there to there. I'm just gonna eyeball it and say it's a little bit more than a half a mile. Which on surface streets can be a little bit of a pain, but on a motorcycle, nah.
Dodging and weaving.
Exactly.
Magic motorcycle.
Yes, that is true. Well, it's not so much.
It is mostly normal.
Yeah, the motorcycle itself is normal. It's used as like the stand-in for the magic horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a motorcycle that conveniently never needs to be serviced or fueled.
Oh, we didn't discuss that detail. We'll have to talk about that. So
it's magic. It doesn't need fuel, right?
No, I just said the motorcycle itself is not magic. We're getting off topic. We'll talk about this. So the two of you are kind of on your way there. You have to hit the throttle a little bit in order to make sure that you're going to get there before the armored car itself gets by you. Stasis, are you just going to basically try to like teleport over there? Okay.
Do you want me to make that?
So generally it's line of sight, but you've got ESP, so that's actually fairly easy for you to do. Yeah, give me an agility action to see how close you're able to get to. Okay, so it's a teleportation action, the suit of which is agility. So that's going to be a 4 teleportation plus a 3 for the card is a 7. You get to add another card because that is the correct suit. It's another agility card, so you get to draw another card. And wow, okay. I mean that's the way to do it.
I think I made it. I don't know.
7 plus 7 is 14. Plus 4 is 18.
Plus agility.
Actually, so it's plus his teleportation versus his agility. So 4 plus 14 is 18. Yeah, you are confident enough that you'll be able to basically link up with them exactly where you want. You basically take a second, kind of use your ESP to get a look at kind of what's going on. Where do you want to teleport to? Do you want to teleport to the surface of the highway, like in front of the van, the armored car? Or do you want to teleport to the top of the armored car?
Ooh, let's go on top.
Okay,
that
all right.
Sounds fun.
Go ahead and draw your card back, and I'll explain to you what you see. Kind of just before you do the teleportation. You are, you
just
kind of
exchanging cards.
You got nice. Yeah, you're just trading one card for another card with the same suit and intensity. That's funny. So, you kind of like detach your mind for a half a second, so you can kind of get a look at the, you kind of this weird like whooshing sensation as another temporal version of you, shows up at the spot you're trying to observe, and you see it's actually kind of weird. There's an armored car that's basically kind of weaving through traffic, surprisingly agile, considering how big and cumbersome this vehicle is. But there's nobody behind the wheel. Instead, there is a guy that is basically standing on top of the thing. He's got one hand like holding on to essentially like a handhold on the top of the thing, and he kind of he'll lean slightly, and that causes the truck to kind of like swerve in the direction that he leans. So it seems like he's kind of controlling it like from on top of it rather than the driver's seat. At the same time, there are several motocross bikes that are without riders, basically like kind of like speeding up and like zooming in front of it and kind of like forcing other cars that are coming the opposite direction kind of swerve out of its path. And there's one of them kind of like nudges a motorcycle cop and causes them to kind of like basically have to ditch the ride, and it kind of slides out from under him. And so there's these three like motocross bikes that are completely riderless, that are all kind of like basically weaving in and out of traffic like a little like wolf pack type of thing. Basically kind of like running interference for the guy on the armored car.
Speaking of magic bikes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is what you see.
I know exactly what I want to do already.
Okay. Now, I'm going to say...
figure out what to do with the person on the back of my motorcycle.
That before we get into the action, we are at break point. So let's go ahead and take a break. We'll take a quick 10 minutes. We will come back. Let's see, what time is it now? It's 7:02. Let's call it 8 minutes. So it's 7:02 Eastern Time. We'll call it 8 minutes. We'll come back at 7:10 Eastern Time. That's going to be 4:10 Pacific Time. And we will get into it. So, yeah. Thanks for joining us so far, folks. We'll be right back after these not commercial breaks. Hope you all had a good break. We are here and ready to roll, literally. So, when last we left off, we were getting our first look at the villain known as Motorpool. And there is Motorpool is in the middle of hijacking an armored car presumably full of cash. Something it's important to note is that one of the police cars chasing Motorpool, pursuing Motorpool, does get closer to, gets close to the armored car, and Motorpool kind of turns and sort of flicks his wrist, and it seems like the car suddenly just stops responding to the police, to the driver's steering, and the car just veers itself in the path of other oncoming cars. So they all kind of come crashing to a stop, in a jumble. So yeah.
All right, now I know what I'm doing first before I do the other thing I wanted to do first.
You've got a new first that you want to do before you do the other first thing. All right.
First has now been demoted to second. There's a new first.
All right, fair.
Okay.
So we're going to start this off. I'm going to draw a narrator card, which is going to be, boom, right there, narrator card.
Flight of Fancy?
Flight of Fancy, yep. Well, that may or may not come into play. So, yeah. The way that we normally do declarations is the person with the lowest intellect is going to declare first. But then the person with the highest agility is going to act first. So, let's see. Stasis, what is your intellect?
It's a 7C.
And Cavalry, yours is a...
4C.
4C, okay. So,
I'm pretty sure I'm the lowest intellect.
Motorpool will be declaring first, then Cavalry, then Stasis, then Mads. So Motorpool basically wants to continue getting away. So he's going to continue driving the armored car in the direction that he is. He's going to try to increase the speed. He doesn't know that there's a couple of heroes about to intercept him, or a trio of heroes about to intercept him. So he's kind of focused on that. Cavalry, what is your action for this round going to be?
So are we going to be at a point where we can see and be ready to intercept?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the new first thing is switch to horse form.
Okay.
I don't want my motorbike near that guy.
What happens if I'm still on the bike when it goes to horse form?
I assume she just gets on the back of the horse with me. My assumption is we're just both on horseback now as opposed to both on bike back.
Dude, I'm taking my helmet off, like hair in the wind.
Mads is now horse girl confirmed. Let's see. Yes, yes, that is correct. That is the way that would work.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like,
So,
what the hell?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I want to switch to horse form, and try and get up alongside some of these interceptor motocross bikes.
Okay. Are you manifesting a weapon when you do this?
This? Ooh. There's no drivers on any of these.
Correct.
So probably probably lasso still.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's see. Stasis, what are you doing? You had already declared that you're going to be teleporting to the top of the car, of the armored car. You did the action for that, so that's foregone. Unless you desperately want to change your target now, but
Well, he's on top of the car as well, right?
yes, correct.
Yeah, I'll take him on here.
Okay.
You got this. Woo.
Woo!
So then,
I
what are
will-
you going to do? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I am going to try to displace him.
Okay.
Maybe perhaps knock him off the armored truck, and maybe that'll disrupt whatever's going on with everything else. This could cause a major car accident, I'm realizing.
To be fair, more car accidents than already has happened from him crashing through all these people.
That's true.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Okay.
These are the many, right?
And then, Mads, what are you going to be doing this round? Like, what's your action for the round?
Probably dismounting off this horse, frankly. As cool as this was, it was exciting for about 5 seconds, and then I was like, oh, this is actually like a life or death situation, potentially, and I'm way out of sorts.
Okay.
This is not what I'm used to. So
Yeah, keep in mind, the horse is moving at speed.
Actually, well, yeah, faster than the motorbikes are going if I'm catching up.
Yes, correct.
This horse can go really fast, and I mean, like, really fast.
I guess holding on for dear life then. I'm trying to think what... She doesn't really have any weapons. I'm trying to think how she can help here.
So one thing
she
I will say...
reach in a bag and for a knife or something.
One thing I will say is that a lot of modern vehicles, including armored cars, do come with a lot of computerized components these days. The motocross bikes, probably not quite so much. I think they're a lot more rudimentary, but the armored car, theoretically, might have...
Oh, another felony. I'm going to hack an armored car.
For the greater good, though, you're fine.
It's already being stolen. I mean, like, does that count?
It depends on the prosecutor, I suspect.
Quick question in relation. Can I control Bonaparte by voice without riding him?
That was something that I was wondering the other day, and I think I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Because if that's the case, I can help you, Mads, get to the armored car to do computer stuff while Cavalry herself is doing her thing.
But how is that going to work?
Okay, my intention for the next round, I wasn't sure if I had enough intention to do this round. When I get up to one of the motocross bikes, I want to try and commandeer it myself.
Okay, we'll get to that the next. We'll get to that in the next
and
round.
beat Mads on Bonaparte and get her to the truck.
Okay, all right. We'll leave that for the next round.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I could do it. Just wait a minute.
All right, that's cool. So yeah, Mads, are you going to try to... what are you going to try to do this round?
I feel like I would try to hack this wirelessly. I'm going to assume she just has, like, I don't know, a Flipper Zero or whatever, some kind of wireless hacking tool with her, so that she can try to do that and bring the armored car to a stop, basically.
Okay. Another thing to note is that you do have the taunting skill for willpower. So
yes, I was gonna have. I didn't do that. I was gonna write a bunch of lines to pull.
So if you wanted to, you could always try and get this guy's, this villain's attention, and kind of distract him from what he's doing. If you wanted to use taunting, just saying it's an option. Not that you can't do the other thing, but since it's,
Reminder of your skill.
Yeah, exactly. Since the characters are still so new for everybody.
Yes, that is a great idea.
Vicious mockery.
Basically vicious mockery. Just pull out a guitar, start.
Mother was a hamster, your father spelt of elderberries, and all the other classics.
Yeah, exactly.
I cannot come up with something on the spot, but I am going to do that. I'm going to try to draw his attention through taunting.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. That is willpower.
So it is, but it's not going to be your turn to act just yet.
Okay.
So everybody declares your actions first, and then we go through and we resolve them in order of whoever has the highest agility, and we go down the list. And the reason for that is that if somebody does an action that you're like, oh, well, that kind of negates mine, I guess I'm going to change my action, you can do that, but there are penalties to kind of like changing tactics midway through the turn. So, there's a method to the madness. All right, so who has the highest agility here? Let's see. Cavalry, yours is a 7. Mads, yours is a 6. Stasis is a 7. Motor Pool is a 9. So Motor Pool is going to go first. Okay. So Motor Pool is doing an agility action because he is driving, despite the fact that he's not behind the wheel. So we're going to kind of use this as a defensive thing more so than anything. All right, so he's got a 9 plus the narrator card of 5, which is an agility card. So I think that justifies me playing this very, very sweet 9 that I got from one of the Doom cards earlier in the session. So that is going to be a total of an 18 plus 5 is 23 plus 4 from driving is a 27 for Motor Pool. So Motor Pool is keeping this armored car at a very good clip, as well as very nimbly kind of maneuvering it around, like, the police put out roads, like those road spike strips and everything. He kind of like very neatly dodges around those, and he's not being slowed down by any of these things just yet. So yeah, that's what he's up to, and that will probably play into any defensive actions he's going to do this turn as well. So next we're going to go to Stasis. You have a 7, and you and Cavalry both have a 7, but Stasis, yours is a 7A. Cavalry, yours is a 7B. So Stasis is going to resolve your action first.
That's what that means.
So yeah, go ahead and you're trying to do displacement, which is a teleportation action. So this will be another agility-based thing using your teleportation. Let me just check something for displacement. Is that resisted by agility or is that resisted by strength? Both of them make sense, just with different rationales. Come on. It is... Okay, it is resisted by agility. Alright. So go ahead and give me a teleportation action whenever you're ready, Stasis. I mean, it's a good time to have that card, let's be honest.
So appropriate.
It is. Oh, yeah. Alright, so I'm just going to move these just right down here, just to remember that those are the cards you played. So that's going to be an 11 plus 4 is 15. Okay. You won't redraw just yet. You're going to hang on to your cards just where they're at. We'll describe kind of what happens at the end of the round. Cavalry. It is...
All right.
It is your action next. So the basically changing over from the bike to the horse, that's not a problem. But in order to catch up, that is going to be an agility action using the equestrian skill.
Equestrian, yes.
Yep.
Do I also get the lightning speed?
So the lightning speed is going to allow you to catch up to them. This is more about like maneuvering yourself up to not let them like kind of swerve away from you or whatever the case may be. So.
Is it the hand size or the edge that lets me do the extra card?
So that's going to be your edge. So it has to be equal to or less than your edge in order to play the extra
so
cards.
I can't do that.
Not at the moment.
Can't do that then. It'd be debating if I want to I don't think I want to sacrifice that 9 yet, because I know I have some other stupid things I'm going to need that for. So I think we're going to play that.
Okay.
Which is a 5 plus 7 for my agility is 13.
12.
Plus 4 for equestrian. 12, yes, plus 4 for equestrian.
Correct.
So 16.
16. Okay. All right. Yeah. You. All right. That'll be good. We'll just hang on to that.
Unless it's Bonaparte's agility, then it's a lot higher, but I don't think so.
No, correct. It's not. All right. So 16. That's what you got. And last but not least, Mads. You're gonna try to taunt this guy, I believe.
Yes.
Go ahead and give me a willpower action, please.
Okay. There we go.
So
Can I do that?
so technically yes. So your edge is only a 1, so you can't play the 2 as part of your edge, but you could theoretically, if you want to, play the 2 as a push card, which means you can still play it and add it to the action total, but you don't get to draw it back at the end of the round. It's like basically taking a little bit of damage in order to have a better chance of success. So you can do that if you want to. Alternatively,
Doing that one instead.
All right, fair enough. So that is a willpower card for a willpower action. So you're going to play the top card of the deck and add that to your total.
Oh, that is a willpower card. That's sorry.
Yeah. So purple or Doctor
confused.
Strange are for willpower. Mr. Fantastic or blue are for intellect.
I was looking at the number, the color behind the number.
Gotcha. That is the aura of the. Oh, I mean, it's not a willpower card, but it's a pretty darn good card nonetheless. All right. So, what is that total? That's 9 for willpower, 7 is a 16, plus another 9 is a 25, plus another 4 from having the skill is 29?
29?
We said something way more clever than Jade can come up with, really.
Jade, as...
We can ask the chat. Chat, what? How should I taunt?
Yeah, if you have a good taunt for motor pool, feel free to toss it in the chat. I do have something in mind. So as Bonaparte is pulling up alongside the between the armored car and one of the motocross bikes, Mads has to really shout to be heard over the wind and the engines revving and everything like that. But Mads says, "Really? I don't know. You seem like more of a Prius guy." Which seems to definitely get his attention from what's ahead of him on the road. So that is going to be a pretty significant penalty to whatever action he's taking next round. Okay, all right. So yeah, he kind of turns and he's still got his hand on the top of the car. Actually, you realize now that you're right next to him, Stasis, that he actually isn't holding on to anything. He's literally just laying his hand on the top of the roof of this armored car, and somehow that's enough to help him keep his footing and everything. Mads' comment definitely kind of gets his attention, and he gives the universal driver's salute in response, but. Cavalry, you are up alongside one of these motocross bikes, and it kind of does a couple evasive maneuvers, but you're able to kind of anticipate it and everything like that, so that you're able to stay right alongside it, which will set you up for next round, I think.
Right.
Stasis, you go to you kind of you land on the roof of the armored car from your teleportation, and you kind of focus on motor pool, getting ready to kind of swap places with him. But at the last second, he kind of jerks the truck to the side in an attempt to basically maybe run Cavalry and Mads off the road. You manage to avoid him in doing so, but the sudden motion kind of causes you to stumble, Stasis, and you kind of lose focus, and you're not able to switch places with him.
Okay.
Oh, I get another Doom card because you pulled a Doom card from the deck. All right, so that is that. We're going to have everybody draw their cards back, starting, again, alphabetical order, so Cavalry first, then Mads, then Stasis. So everybody's going to get one card to refill their hands.
All right. Yay, more agility cards. I like those right now.
Agility cards are definitely useful for you in this moment.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of useful in general, other than willpower.
All right. And then what I'm going to need is I'm going to need a defensive action. This is as a contingent thing, so after everything else in the round resolves, this is going to occur. I need a defensive action from Stasis as Motor Pool shouts kind of down at the cab of the truck, hey, we've got a stowaway up here. Or we got a hitchhiker up here, I think is what he'll say, not stowaway. He'll say hitchhiker. And a very large... Something very large is going to basically burst its way through the metal roof of the armored car. And I'm going to need agility if you want to use agility to dodge out of the way, Stasis. Or you do have time control, which you can use to defend once in a turn. So if you wanted to do that, you could do time control instead of agility. It's up to you.
We'll be able to use it the next turn, though, right?
Correct.
Okay. Maybe that's a good idea.
I mean, you've got such a high time control intensity. That 5 of Doom is probably sufficient to get you what you want.
I feel like you're fishing for a Doom card again.
Always.
Always.
Why would he ever do that?
Always.
Always and forever.
Why? Why indeed?
So, yeah, I need an intellect action. Please.
Have intellect, but I'll throw Namor out there.
All right, that's not a bad choice. So 6 plus 20 is 26. There are no skills that really apply to this, so it's going to be a straight 26, which is pretty darn good. The question is, do I want to be a jerk? Well, let me do some math here real quick. So that's going to be 14, that's going to be 19, that's going to be 23. I would have to be a jerk if I wanted this to hit. Yeah, you know what? I've got the Doom cards.
You know what?
Let's
Be
use
a
the,
jerk.
dude. Let's use the Doom cards. I'm gonna use Commanding Presence. It's actually I'm just using it for the 5, but I think Commanding Presence makes sense because all of a sudden there's this guy who looks like he's probably a good 15 feet tall. Suddenly comes tears the top of the armored car open like it's a can opener, is still growing as he tears the top of the car off. And as he does so, this plume of black smoke kind of billows out around him and actually kind of blankets this stretch of the highway. A number of the police cruisers that are in pursuit, they drive into this and lose all visibility, and there's some screeching tires and things like that. Luckily, cavalry, you're already kind of ahead of that, so the cloud forms behind you, and very quickly the stuff kind of is pouring out of the back of the truck for a couple of seconds, but the rushing wind and everything like that kind of dissipates it. And there is another villain involved in this heist. His name is Smokestack, and he basically punches up through the roof of the armored car, and just barely manages to clip Stasis.
These names are amazing.
Thank you. I'm very pleased with these guys. My wife and I were on a road trip recently, and I was just I don't know what happened, but I was really inspired. I got 8 really good villain names and concepts, and I was just making notes like crazy while we were driving. Well, she was driving. I was the passenger. I was not taking notes while driving. But yeah, so that is going to be that is going to hurt. So oh wait, but hold on a second. I think there's a really important detail that I'm overlooking here, and that is that... Hold on, let me check something before I say something dumb. Well, let me check something before I say something incorrect. I say the dumb things all the time. That's right. You're non-corporeal, so you can't be affected by physical attacks. So, yeah. Luckily for you, this wasn't an energy attack or anything like that. It was physical. So basically, he rips the thing open. His fist kind of passes right through you, and there's kind of a look of kind of surprise on his face. He's like, I could have sworn I tagged him with that one, Motor. And that's kind of where that particular round will end. So, all right. Go ahead and draw a card back for me, please, Stasis, to end the round. We'll discard that narrator card, and then we will go into the next narrator card. Ooh, an intellect card. That's good for you. Oh, a 9 of... Ooh. That makes me happy.
But it's positive, right? It's good.
Yeah, it's a positive aura. That means all of you guys get a card back. Oh, wait. None of you are missing cards. Alright, so... the villains are going to have a good turn this turn, it would seem. But, yeah. We'll figure it all out. So let's see. Motorpool is going to declare his action first. I think Motor Pool is going to... I guess technically the motorcycles declare their actions first. So one of the motorcycles is going to attempt to do a power slam on Bonaparte. Basically just like veer directly into Bonaparte to try and throw Bonaparte's riders off. So that's what they're going to do. And Motor Pool is going to focus on continuing to drive this truck and get it the heck out of here. Cavalry, you've got the next highest intellect, so what is your action going to be for the round? I think you already declared it last turn, but I want to hear it again.
Yeah, I plan on... I guess the one that's about to slam us now. I plan on attempting to jump on it and commandeer it. And I'll send Bonaparte closer to, I guess on the other side of me, closer to the driver's door of the
armored car.
Of the armored car, yes. My goal is if I can somehow turn off the ignition, essentially, can it still be controlled?
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
And hopefully by the time I turn it off, jump onto the next bike that's closest.
Gotcha.
Or just try and drive it myself if someone physically driving it make a difference. But yeah, those are my intents.
All right, sounds good. So in that case, Smokestack is going to declare next. Smokestack wants to basically create a plume of smoke that is going to kind of blind Stasis and prevent Stasis from interfering any further, since he knows that he can't punch Stasis now. So that's what he's going to do. Stasis, what are you going to do this round?
And just is he occupying the hole that he burst out of?
Yes.
Damn. Okay.
Basically, you could theoretically get into the truck if you wanted to. He's not occupying the full hole, but he's still he's still kind of looming up out of the hole.
Mm.
Not to mention, you have teleportation, so if you can see down into the truck, theoretically, you can just teleport down in there.
Yeah, I want to try to teleport into the truck.
Okay, sounds good. Mads, what are you doing?
Am I on the back of the horse?
You are still on the back of the horse. Not alone yet. That's the intent. Is that by the end of the round, you will be on Bonaparte by yourself near the
truck
driver's side of the armored car.
Then, then I'm gonna do a computer link action to try to stop the truck electronically.
Okay, sounds good. So first person that is going to resolve is going to be Motor Pool, as we discussed last time. Nobody's really messing with him. So,
dare I say the bikes also go on this turn?
Actually, the bikes are going to go right after this.
Okay.
Surprisingly, Motor Pool has a better agility than the motorcycles do. Just barely, but still better. Okay, yeah. So he's going to continue on. He's continuing to evade anybody that's trying to get in his way or whatever. I'm not going to worry about making an action or anything. He's taking care of that. The motorcycle is going to try and slam into Bonaparte. So I need an agility action using the equestrian skill.
Okay.
From
Cavalry,
yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to do that.
All right. It's a good start.
Let's do that. That's a 10. Plus 7 for agility is 17. Plus 4 from equestrian is 21.
21. All right. So in that case, the bike is going to get a 9 for the narrator card, plus an 8 for its agility is a 17, plus 4 for drive is a 21. Interesting.
Nothing happens?
No,
How does it work?
no, sadly. So, I think in this particular case, well, I'm just going to make note of this. We'll describe the resolution here in a second. So you're going to leave your cards up there for your. Actually, I'm going to move your defense cards over here.
Okay.
And so that was that. Cavalry, or no, sorry, Stasis, you get to resolve next. So that's going to be an agility action in order to teleport past this guy. Okay. All right. I'm actually going to, sorry to be a pain, I'm just going to move these down here next to you so I know that they're your cards. So that's a 9
I
plus...
can start doing that now.
Okay. Yeah, so this guy over here is the narrator card. I use the space right over the word narrator. I'm going to move it down just a little bit so it's called out a little bit more. But, yeah. Okay, so 9 plus your teleportation of 4 is 13. He's not really trying to stop you. Okay, yeah. Cool. I will keep that in mind. I know what's going to happen. So that was a 7A agility. Cavalry has a 7B agility, so you're going to go next.
Yeah. So, jump on the bike.
Okay. You don't have acrobatics as a skill, but you do have equestrian. I'm going to assume that jumping from the back of a horse onto another moving horse is... It's kind of an equestrian trick. It's not a horse, it's a motorcycle, but same thing.
Well, I have that and driving, so I think that kind of...
Yeah,
maybe...
I'll give you 2 points towards the skill rather than a full 4.
I will take it. And it's an agility still, right?
That is going to be an agility action, yes.
Okay, so I've been saving this for this specifically.
It's a good card to have in this scenario.
Yeah, and it's an agility, so you get to do that. So it's a 13, plus my agility is a 20, plus half my agility, or half my equestrian skill is a 22.
22. That is that is really good. So let's see. This guy's got a 8 plus 9 is 17, and using drive again is 21.
Woo!
So, all right. Yep. All right. So that's good to know. Mads, you are going to get to take your action next.
You meet still?
Oh.
Thank you. So my intellect is 11. Oh no, this is not intellect. This is computer link.
Yep.
So computer link is 7 plus 6 is 13 plus another 5 is 18.
Okay. Plus your computers. You have the skill computer, so that's another 4 for 22.
Okay.
All right. So 22. That is pretty spectacular. These guys are... Yeah, I mean, these things probably have pretty good, like, encryption and everything like that. But even with that, that is... So wait, hold on. Yeah. It's a little bit touch and go for a half a second because there's a lot of, like, bouncing, like, motion as the horse is galloping along, and, like, you know, this motorcycle is basically trying to, like, slam into Bonaparte while you're doing this. But, like, you kind of, like, establish a basically a remote, like, Bluetooth wireless connection with this thing, with the truck, because you're in close enough proximity to do that. And
This is the best movie hacking scene ever.
it really
Hacking
is.
a car while on a
Horse.
horse
Well, on a
running the
horse,
speed
jousting against a motocross bike. And of course, you've got to say the obligatory hacker line because the action succeeded.
I'm in.
I'm in, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. We've hit all the cliches we needed to for the session. We've reached our quota.
Yeah, we're a blockbuster now. That's it. That's
Yeah, exactly. Yep. We can cut the trailer. We're good.
Yeah, put Michael Bay on the front of it. It's fine.
Oh.
I hate it too, but it's gonna be lots of explosions.
I mean, if Michael Bay's involved, then I'm pretty sure that means either Cavalry or Mads has to be played by Megan Fox, right? Oh no, they had a falling out a while back. Now that I think about it, so I guess that's not true anymore. All right. There is still one action left to do. So yeah, I don't really have to think about that too much because it's just a phenomenal success. So Stasis, you as this guy kind of rears up and looks like he's getting ready to do something, you kind of just look down past him and teleport into the truck. He seemingly from his hands, or maybe it's coming from underneath his suit. You're not quite sure. More smoke starts to kind of billow out, and a lot of it gets whipped away by the wind. But when he realizes that you basically are you basically land inside the truck, he basically just redirects it, and the entire back of the truck is now kind of filled with this really thick, noxious black smoke, which is going to make life really inconvenient for you. But I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm fine.
Bonaparte is going to take 21 points of damage from this motorcycle colliding with him. Now, luckily, Bonaparte is going to subtract his strength from that. So Bonaparte's strength of 11, so 21 minus 11 is 10. He has 7 health left of his original 17 health.
Yeah, that hurts.
It does. There's a kind of ghost roll whinnying sound as the motorcycle collides with him, but there's a brief stumble in Bonaparte's gallop, but then quickly kind of gets back into it. So the motorcycle slams into Bonaparte and then immediately kind of hits the brakes and veers to get away from it, but luckily Cavalry is got perfect timing. After the initial impact, while the bike kind of wobbles a little bit to get back on its direction of travel, you just leap from the saddle and land. It's a very very hard impact that probably would hurt someone of a more masculine gender.
Yeah.
Luckily, Cavalry is okay in the landing, and kind of scrabble for the handlebars, but you manage to get a hold of them. You don't necessarily have control of the motorcycle yet. We'll talk about that in the next round. But
I'm on it, though.
You are on the motorcycle. Meanwhile, Mads or Bonaparte has basically pulled in front of the armored car and kind of does a quick half leap sort of onto to the other side of it. You were on the passenger side, you kind of leap in front of the thing, and then continue galloping alongside it on the driver's side of the door, or on the driver's side door. And Mads is able to establish connection with the kind of fairly rudimentary onboard computer, but this is a very modern armored car. It's got GPS and some other features and things like that some of those automatic collision detection and things of that nature, which seem like they've sort of been those. Mads, what you notice is that those alerts have been triggering, but that the controls of the vehicle have basically been ignoring them. And there's this weird moment where you almost feel like there's someone else occupying the computer on the armored car, at the same time, but from a less conscious perspective than yours. Like yours is like you're actively like looking through and kind of like sifting through like the operating system and things like that. This seems like it's more like if you were like a spider that crawled up on someone's arm, the person would kind of like be like, I feel something, is kind of like the stage that you're at now. So that's kind of the dynamic that's going on here.
Okay.
But yeah, you are.
So we're gonna have a good old fashioned hacker battle.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought we're out of tropes. We're out of tropes for this game, though.
That's true. Well, we reached our quota. It doesn't mean we're out. It just means we don't have to do anymore.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to discard all these cards so that they're not in the way. Come over here. There we go. Discard that card. And Cavalry, you have to draw 2 cards. Mads 1, Stasis 1. And then we will get into the next round. Oh, you stole one of Mads' cards there, Cavalry.
Did I?
That 8 of Intellect.
I thought it was mine. I pulled out 2.
No, I'm kidding. I'm saying like that was a card that
Oh!
Mads was going
I
to
thought-
want that card.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's why there's an order. It's mine now.
First come, first serve.
I wish we could start trading hands. Can we play Go Fish here?
So the leadership skill allows you to do that. My modified version of the leadership skill allows you to do that.
Darn it.
And then that's 1 card for... Oh, Mads already got her card. Okay.
Yep.
1 for Stasis.
Oh, do we have to go in order when we're pulling those?
I go alphabetically just so there's no confusion, because I noticed something that happened in another game I ran the other day. 2 people basically tried to draw the card at the exact same time, and so they both got the same card. Like, so there were 2 copies of the same card on the tabletop, which shouldn't be a thing. So, just to avoid that in the future. So yeah. Here, how are we doing here? I think we're good. All right. So yeah, we are in an interesting situation. So Stasis, you are in the back of the truck. It is full of smoke, which, while not a physical attack, you do still need to breathe and see. So it's going to be somewhat inconvenient for you. Let's get into it. Motorpool is going to declare first. He is going to... he's going to be kind of trying to wrest control of the motorcycle away from Cavalry. So that's what his action is going to be, is to basically maintain control of the bike. From there, Cavalry, what is your action going to be?
Okay, so... I guess question 1, do these bikes look like they obviously belong to, like, police forces, or are they just, like, random hijacked bikes, or branded or something?
They're motocross bikes, so, like, they're pretty generic, like, they could have literally just come from a motocross track.
Alright. My goal is... How far am I away from Bonaparte?
So you are on the opposite side of the armored car now.
Am I within grabbing distance of the armored car?
Are you? Yes. Like you could easily swerve to the side and like grab onto the side mirror if you wanted to.
Okay. My goal is attempt to do that, and in doing so, destroy the bike from underneath me.
Okay. All right. I love it. So you're not
I was
necessarily
thinking just turn the ignition off, but I'm not sure if that actually means anything to this guy. So I figured if there's no bike for him to control, he can't control it, right?
Of course, that actually makes perfect sense.
So
Okay.
Is swapping my weapon a free action?
No. To pull a new weapon, that is kind of your action for the turn.
Okay. All right. So I guess with what I have.
I will allow you to do, like, basically we'll say it happens as a contingent action. You don't have to play any cards for it. So it happens at the end of the round in order for you to use it the next round. But you can't swap it and use it this turn.
Okay, so I guess my goal this turn is to get to a point where I can, like, hold on to the truck so that I'm, not just eating pavement.
Okay.
I have spurs on my boots. Can I just pop a tire?
On the bike
Attempt
or
to.
on the
On the bike.
uh sure, that'll be part of the narrative of the thing if you succeed. If you fail, it might mean that your boot gets ripped off.
Hey.
But if you want to do that, yeah, let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
down. I think it's cool.
Yeah, because I think I picked lasso, and that's not really useful for destroying anything.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no,
Oh, that's
I don't like
that's
that.
a good narrator card. I'm happy with that. That does mean that Bonaparte gets to heal 8 points though. So Bonaparte's up
Nice.
to 15 health of 17
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So quickly scrolling over my abilities, I got the lasso of lightning, which is a snarement.
Pardon me. 1 second, everybody. Sorry for. I hate it when I'm about to sneeze, and I know I'm about to sneeze, and so I prep and I'm like ready for it, and it's right, and then it just goes away. It's just like it's like no, psych, haha, fooled you. Sorry. Okay. That minor biological distraction aside,
Yeah, I think my goal is to pop the tire of the motorbike
okay.
and stay riding with the armored vehicle.
Okay, sounds good. So that'll be your action.
Yes.
Smokestack is going to declare next. I think. You know what? Smokestack is actually going to. He's going to focus on keeping the cops off of the armored truck because really his only options at this point are like attack the lady on the bike, attack the lady on the horse, attack the weird guy in the truck that is currently full of smoke. Smokestack seems hesitant to it's just straight up flatten somebody that's traveling at high speeds. But he's totally fine with laying down a smoke screen for to keep the cops off their trail. So that's what he's going to be doing this round. Stasis, what are you doing? Oh, actually, I should say that the other motorcycles that are out and about, one of them is busy kind of still running interference with any traffic coming up. The other one is going to try and basically get rid of Bonaparte. It's going to do the same thing, that the kind of slam into Bonaparte to try to get rid of him. So yeah, that's what that's going to do. Stasis, I believe it is your turn to declare next. What are you going to do this round?
I'm going to try to corrode Smokestack. Don't know how that's going to go.
Okay, all right. That'll be a little bit more difficult as you can't really see, but that's not impossible. Mads, what about you this round? So you've got access to the armored car now.
Yeah, I want to slow it down. I want to basically bring it to a stop and take the basic. The way I think about this is the thieves have home field advantage traveling at speed on their motorbikes. So let's just stop the action.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
This also probably saves lives.
Probably, yeah. All right, so Motorpool is going to go first. He's trying to basically buck cavalry off the bike. That's going to be animation, so it's going to be... I'm spending a Doom card, but I'm not telling you the total. So you have to guess at what you how good of a score you need to do this. So that's him. Next is Stasis. Next is the other motorcycle. I don't have any more of those, so that's going to be 16. Okay, so this other motorcycle is going to try and attack Bonaparte. You're no longer in control of Bonaparte, so no cards can be played, but I'll just be using Bonaparte's base agility and the narrator card, so Bonaparte manages to kind of basically just leaps right over this motorcycle as it comes comes swinging around, changes direction and is going head on, and Bonaparte just jumps right over it.
Question about Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Can phasing be used defensively?
So yes, or it can be used to reduce damage being taken, but it's instead of strength. So theoretically it could have been, but it's Bonaparte's agility was better, so it just made more sense.
Okay.
All right, so that's pretty straightforward. So that was that. Stasis, it is your turn to resolve your action next. So go ahead, and this is going to be okay. I know what the adjustments to the difficulty are. You are welcome to make your action whenever you see fit. Intellect card, that makes sense because it's time control.
Oh,
Okay.
Womp.
Womp womp.
womp womp womp.
So let's see. You're using corrosion, correct?
Mhm.
It is resisted by strength. Yes. Okay. So what is that? A 25 total, I believe?
Hmm?
Okay. So 25, and then it's going to be resisted by his strength, which is currently... Okay. Oh, wait, you have to... I forgot. You actually have to make an agility action to grab them in order for that to take off. So this is actually going to be based off your agility rather than your intellect or your time control just yet. So that's going to be an 11 total. You've got martial arts, that's another 4, so that's 15. His agility is really low at the moment because he's big. So he's got the 8, and then with the... so you basically are kind of like reaching out through the smoke to try to grab a hold of him, and with the truck kind of moving and swerving and making very sudden motions, you're kind of getting like bounced around in the truck. Your hand kind of brushes against Smokestack's leg, but you're not able to get good enough purchase and long enough to kind of get the power sort of out. So unfortunately that will not work this round. So that is your turn. Cavalry, it is your turn next to make this rather daring little maneuver.
So is the kicking... Oh, I have to make the defense, right?
No, so your driving score is going to be opposed by the score that he generated to maintain control of the bike, so that you can't maneuver it and everything like that. So it's sort of an opposed thing rather than a defense thing.
Okay. So I got to make a driving check to get closer to the truck then?
Basically, to veer the bike in such a way that you can grab onto the truck, pop the tire, and let it fall under the wheels of the truck. Yeah.
Okay. So, and is the popping the tire going to be a separate?
Nope, it's a kind of all part of it. It's
Okay.
part of the whole stunt.
Okay, so let's see what I got. Driving. I don't have any agility cards. Of course, I don't.
You do not.
I don't have any edge cards.
You do
So
not.
let's just go high.
You can also push. You can.
What was pushing again?
So pushing is where you play a card from your hand, but you don't draw it back at the end of the round. Basically, you take it as damage.
Oh, okay.
And then you also play a card for, like, a normal card.
Yeah, so if I go that plus 12 plus ability is... That would be a 19 for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Yeah, let's push it.
Okay. All
25.
Right. 25. All right, go ahead and leave those there.
Yeah.
Mads, it is your turn next. So this is going to be... pardon me. This is going to be a computer link action again, because you're trying to use this little wireless connection you have with the truck to engage the emergency brakes, or trigger the collision detection, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. And same with cavalry. You can also push if you would like to, in order to resolve this.
I'm gonna push.
Okay. So 11 plus computer link of 7 is 18, plus computers is 22. That is quite good. I don't have any other... Man, nobody's playing Doom cards. So...
If you like 5.
But I've played all the cards that I got from you playing those Doom cards. I need more Doom cards, is my point. Okay. And he was doing his thing with... So the cops are basically kind of falling back. The truck is starting to pull away. Alright, so... We're going to do... Alright. I'm going to make use of the event on the narrator card, Retributive Strike, as a contingent thing. We'll get back around to that. But basically what happens is... So Bonaparte vaults the motorcycle that was trying to collide with him, and, kind of lands and continues moving alongside the truck. Mads, you are able to basically trick the sensors in the truck to think that it needs to apply the brakes right now, and so it does. And there's it doesn't screech to a halt, but it definitely slows down dramatically. Cavalry, as you are you kind of feel the bike start to sort of act of its own accord, but you just make a very quick, very sudden adjustment, kind of pitch yourself to the side and wrestle the handlebars, and it's just enough that it kind of veers close to the armored car. You reach out one hand and grab. It's your left hand that is the spectrum hand?
Oh, that's actually a good question. Let me pull that up. I think it's my right hand that's...
Okay.
Go.
So, I'm going to say...
my left arm is the one going...
I'm going to say that you kind of actually reach across body and you grab onto it with the spectral arm.
Yeah.
And, as you do, you kind of just unbalance the bike enough that it's going to eat pavement. You kind of, manage to use your spur to pop the tire to kind of help it, give it that last little bit of instability that it needs to fall under the wheels of the armored car, and it kind of rolls over it. This motocross bike is a shambles at this point.
Perfect.
It's debris on the road at this point.
Can I know what the DC was now?
It was a 20.
Okay.
So if you had stuck with just playing the 8, it would have given you a 19. You would have been 1 under.
Yeah.
So the push was a good call. And Stasis is kind of in the bed of the truck, kind of getting thrown around a little bit because of the smoke. It's hard to concentrate. It's hard to breathe. But we're going to go ahead and discard these. Cavalry, go ahead and draw 1 card because you pushed, so you only get 1 card back.
And I think it's the same for Mads.
Mads, yep, you'll get 1 card back, and Stasis, you will also get 1 card back, putting you at a max hand size of 3.
Stasis, nice and healthy over there with no damage.
Also, kind of getting thrown around, kind of a in for a rough ride.
Yeah, everybody else with a body.
Mm.
So actually, Mads, you should have only gotten 1 card back because you pushed. So I think the second card drawn was the 4 of agility. So that'll go to Stasis. All right, so...
You wanted that 8, didn't you?
Who doesn't? It's Nightcrawler. He's one of the best comic book characters
Nightcrawler
out there.
so much.
Liebchen. Actually, sorry, this is a total tangent, but
time.
There was a... Oh, God, you did not just say that.
Sorry, what?
It's Morbin time!
Oh, yeah.
Stupid Morbius. God, that movie was so bad.
It was terrible.
And it's funny because every time I see the Craven trailer, I think it's like the sequel to Morbius because there's so many similarities in like the way he moves, the way he fights, the way he like his enhanced senses like alert him to danger. It's so it's gonna be awful. Anyways, speaking of Nightcrawler, I just recently had a blast from the past come across my YouTube algorithm. It was the original X-Men cartoon trailer or pilot. So not the 90s like Fox Saturday morning cartoon X-Men that was really, really good and everybody knows. This was a different one that it was like I think it was technically an unapproved like attempt at a pilot. And it had Dazzler and Storm, but not in her white costume. It was like the black costume with like the wings and everything. I had chalked it up as a fever dream because I've literally never seen it outside of the copy that I got on VHS from like a Pizza Hut like book reading competition that I scored however many points and was like, I want the X-Men cartoon.
I think I found it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's not bad. Like that's the only episode, but it's not bad.
It's called Pride of the X-Men.
Yes, that's the one.
Pride spelled with a Y.
Yes, because it's introducing Kitty Pryde as like the pilot episode. So
yeah,
if you have the chance, if you're interested in those things, check it out. Pride of the X-Men on YouTube. It's actually, it's not bad, and it's sort of a lost relic of a show that never actually came to be. So. Anyways, total tangent. Nightcrawler was the cause, so we can blame him. The way that round is going to end is I'm using Retributive Strike. Motorpool is pissed off and is going to attempt to veer the armored car into Bonaparte. That is going to be bad for Mads and Bonaparte in theory. So let's see. Bonaparte, we determined, has a 19, but already avoided an attack this round. So that's going to drop that by basically level of difficulty. So essentially it's a 15 against... So this is a 16 on... Oh no, sorry, I need the... Where is it? So it is... Oh, that's why. Okay. So 12 and 4 is 16. That's exactly what he needed. So that's 16 points of damage plus... Yep, okay. So Bonaparte and Mads are both going to take 16 points of damage as the truck veers to the side and slams against
What was
the
Bonaparte's health at?
spectral horse. Bonaparte's health is 15, but don't forget to subtract strength. So it's 16 points of damage minus Bonaparte's strength of 11, so that's 5 points of damage. So Bonaparte is now at 10 health. Mads, you're going to take 16 points of damage minus your strength.
I'm muted, which is 5. My strength's 5. So.
Okay. So that is going to be 10 points of damage. So you need to give me 10 points worth of cards. Sorry, 11 points of damage. So you need to give me 11 points worth of cards.
I don't have 11 points worth of cards.
You do not have 11 points worth of cards. So that means that you are going to discard the cards you do have. You are going to be knocked unconscious, which I'm sure won't cause any sorts of problems whatsoever going into the next round. Now, I will say that between the truck running over the motorcycle and the brakes suddenly applying, well, I mean, that's... That's going to be really awkward for... It's going to be really awkward for Motorpool. So he's got 7 points. All right. So what happens is I'm going to take a little bit of creative liberty with one of Motorpool's unique powers, which is called Death Defying. Normally, any source of damage that reduces him to 0 health is ignored if the total damage dealt is less than 7. In this particular case, it's not less than 7, but I find this narratively funny, so I'm going to roll with it. The truck kind of slams to a stop and goes over the motorcycle, and kind of like veers to the side, and so we're gonna rule it as like Bonaparte actually runs into the side of the truck, and Mads kind of like smashes against it as well. But as the thing kind of comes to a halting stop, Motorpool, his momentum continues, and so he goes kind of like catapulting off the top of the thing. And as you guys are going over this like on this overpass, there is an off ramp, an off ramp from the other side going down to the highway underneath. Motorpool goes careening off the top of the truck end over end and lands in the back of an open convertible, and kind of just and seems a little bit stunned for a second, but is otherwise fine as the car continues driving off in the opposite direction. And yeah, the truck is stopped. The other motorcycles are now inert because Motorpool is no longer on the scene. Smokestack is still standing there, mostly protruding from the back of this armored car. Mads is unconscious on the back of Bonaparte. And yeah, I think that's where that round will end. What time is it? We still got a few minutes. I think we got enough time for one more. Oh, you know what? Armed Forces. I think I'm going to use that to kind of GM Fiat the situation to a close combat-wise. With the truck stopped, the cops kind of arrive in force kind of from both directions. There's a police helicopter. The Smokestack very quickly kind of looks at the scene, kind of puts both hands up and shrinks back down to size, inside the armored car. Stasis, you're there. He kind of opens the doors, and so the smoke billows out and clears out after a second. Smokestack kind of he looks at you, Stasis, kind of looks you up and down and says, "Hey, no hard feelings, right?" And he kind of goes to offer a hand to shake.
Whiffed.
He looks like he's not quite sure if you missed or if you passed through him. He kind of has to think about it for a second. He goes, yeah, right. Anyway, and he hops out like he's clearly a little bit like spooked out by Stasis's like proximity. So he decides he would rather go deal with the cops than Stasis.
It's nice.
Yeah, Mads, you do come to fairly quickly after like his combat is essentially ended, so you can go ahead and draw your 3 cards back. Cavalry, you can draw back your 4th card, but it's kind of all academic. The session's kind of wrapping up at this point, but yeah, it's. Tell me what you do. What's the reaction? How you guys feeling?
Well, now we have 2
get the fuck
getaways.
away from cops.
Yeah.
I mean, the cops are far more interested in Smokestack and the armored car than they are in you. As far as like the outside observer is going to look at it as like you were sort of a
superhero that
bystander.
helped.
So you look like a relatively normal person that is kind of at the scene of this traffic accident and everything like that, and like you're kind of like looking a little bit groggy. So the general assumption is like some EMTs come to check on you and ask if you're okay, but the cops don't. They seem to think that you're like a victim in the whole thing.
Okay.
What about Cavalry and Stasis?
I'm so torn that. Well, we have the whole vitriol business going on now.
Just moving on.
Yeah, and now we have motocross.
Motorpool.
Motorpool, yes. Motocross is the bike.
It's a play. It's a play on Deadpool. Motorpool.
Yeah. So now we have Motorpool that just got away. One of them is a bit more of a problem than the other because there's a big conspiracy going behind vitriol right now, or whatever vitriol's dealing with right now. So I think Calver's going to cut her loss on Motorpool right now.
Okay.
Because like she can catch up. She's faster than him.
That's true, especially because he's not in charge. Well, he wasn't in charge of the car. He probably will be in short order.
Yeah, but I think a horse with lightning speed's probably faster than just a convertible Corvette. Lightning speed is the key word there.
So technically, according to the system, cars have lightning speed as well because they travel that much faster than a person can. So they represent that increased speed with the lightning speed stat.
Okay.
It's not usually super high. Like lightning speed 7 would be a very high-end car. So, you probably would be able to catch up to them. Not guaranteed, but probably.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, lightning speed 7, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so the cops actually are. I'm just gonna say you guys get some decent press out of this because even though you're not members of a union, it's not like there's a union here that operating is going against that. So the cops seem kind of appreciative of everything you did. Like they give Stasis a very wide berth. They don't know what the hell's going on with Stasis.
I mean, I do probably revert back. I put Bonaparte back into motorbike form and stop looking like a dead girl walking if they're going to talk to me, because that probably helps them a bit.
Giant skeleton hand.
Yeah. Well, I have Monstrous as
that's true.
One of my things. Only when I'm in cavalry form, though. When I'm in as Alexis, I'm just. Well, I have physically disabled as opposed to Monstrous from Alexis, because
that is correct. Yep.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit spooked out, but when it kind of goes back to when you go back to like your normal form, they seem much more open to approaching. So yeah, they kind of come over, they shake hands, and they get your statements and everything like that. Like I said, Mads, they for the most part kind of give you a berth because they assume you're being checked out by paramedics and everything like that. But they're milling around if you want to give a statement.
No, no, because then she'll have to give her name, and that'll show up. And no.
I thought as much, but I figured I'd offer.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want to out yourself and cause a lot of drama?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So in fairly short order, I mean, there was a like a news chopper that was kind of covering the chase and everything like that from a distance. Once things have settled down for a few minutes, like some actual news crews start to show up, which is probably going to be a little bit more concerning for Mads. So I don't know if you folks feel like you want to get GTFO or if you want to stick around.
Once I see the first news van start rolling up, I say to the officers, "All right, sorry, I got places to be." I just get on the bike.
Doesn't seem suspicious in the slightest.
No.
All right, are Mads, you going with cavalry?
For sure.
Yep. Helmet back on.
Stasis, what are you doing during all this? Like, nobody seems to want to talk to you.
Oh, that's fine. I guess I'm focusing on where Vitriol might be.
So you're kind of just standing in the midst of all this chaos, just kind of like zoning out, like staring into the distance.
Yep.
So I think the last panel of this particular issue is going to be Stasis kind of standing there. There's like a bunch of like kind of like overlap panels, like small ones representing Stasis kind of like looking at different like parts of the city and trying to just get a bead on Vitriol. And there's a reporter that is walking up, like putting a microphone in Stasis's face and saying like who are you? What's your... And at mid question, Stasis just kind of blinks out of existence as he teleports back to, wherever the meeting point is. And that'll
Sounds
be
about right.
That'll be where the issue ends.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's a good comic. That's a wrap.
All right.
I'd read that.
Well, thank you very much for playing, audience. Thank you very much for being here and watching. Hope you enjoyed. I am very pleased that I got to introduce two of my new villains today. They operating in fine form. So,
I absolutely loved the pun of smokestack.
Yes.
And I'm excited to meet Motorpool again, only because motorbike. It's going to be a common problem.
Yes. Yeah. I did not think of that villain in specific connection to cavalry, but after I kind of came up with the concept and I thought about it for half a second, I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be a good pairing. So, I actually have basically like a nemesis style character for all of you. Not that Motorpool is your nemesis character, but he's a good foil for cavalry nonetheless.
I'm pretty sure we talked about my nemesis already.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm so excited for when we get there.
That probably won't happen like immediately, but it's
I know it's going to be a bit. But I'm excited for it still.
It's down the road a little ways.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to let me know if there's anything that you would prefer to see done differently in future sessions and all that. But otherwise, I really appreciate all of you being here. You all were great fun to throw supervillains at. So
yes. And thanks for hosting me as always.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I liked the teamwork, by the way, of cavalry like delivering Mads to the target for the hacking. That was pretty good.
Yeah. My goal was if it was going to be a lot longer of a chase, I was going to see and actually try and do like eliminate this bike, jump to the next bike, eliminate this bike, jump to the next bike. That was my goal, but we sorted it a lot quicker than we needed for that. Yeah.
Eventual crossing guard called stop sign. Yes, that's cavalry's nemesis.
Stopping at stop signs. Cavalry's terrible at that.
The crossing guard just puts out their stop sign, and all of cavalry's forward momentum is just like gone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do a quick outro. If you could all, again, in alphabetical order, just say who you are, who you played, and if you can be found and want to be found anywhere on the internet or want to promote anything, now's the time.
Same order.
Yes, please.
I'm AJ the Sparky. AJ. You can find me as AJ the Sparky almost everywhere. Not that I'm active that much, but I try to be sometimes. So yeah, you'll catch me there.
Folks, I've been Mads. My name is Jade, and you can find me on the Fediverse Mastodon at Renegade Jade at hatchiderm.io.
This is Stasis or Keegan. Not really terribly active on the internet, but you can find me at Ritzlang on Instagram, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
All right. And I am Ben Ravensdale. I've been the narrator, bringing you all the heart-stopping comic book action you can handle for the last little bit. Thank you all very much for joining us. You can find me in a couple different places. First off, I'm running the sister show to the Philly 5, which is Vigilantes Union Local 13. You can find on YouTube. All on the Table RPGs is the channel name, same as here on Twitch, so it's nice and easy to find. I am also going to be on a stream in about 20 minutes over on Stolen Fires here on Twitch. It's a public access game, which is kind of a nostalgic 80s X-Files-ish fringe, kind of weird science supernatural thing. It's a really cool concept. It's difficult to do justice in a quick sound bit, so check it out. Again, Stolen Fires over on Twitch. That's pretty much all I have for now, so thank you very much for joining us. We will be back in 2 weeks, so not the 19th, but the 26th of October at the same time, same channel, for another issue of Vigilantes Union Philly 5.
Yeah.
A raid. I did not consider that. I will figure out the raid information while we're on the goodbye screen. Thank you all very much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to stick around because I'll send the raid over here in just a moment. So, thank you very much. Have a great night. And I will see you on Stolen Fires in about 20 minutes.